Hello guys, welcome back. Today we're going to be doing my final 2018 NHL mock draft. Now I probably will be doing my own personal rankings later on, but I might as well start with the mock draft for the upcoming NHL draft. Now, of course, we're going to be looking through all the picks. Which team do I think will take the players? And at the end, I'll have a probability of success through 1 to 10 for the top 15 players here. And at number 1, it's pretty obvious pick with Buffalo having that first overall pick. It's got to be Rasmus Dahlin. Unless Buffalo does some more Buffalo things and just goofs that pick away, I don't know how it couldn't be Rasmus Dahlin. And Rasmus Dahlin, of course, has been dominating the Olympics when he was there, dominating the World Juniors, the CHL, basically dominating everything that he's been in, and of course has looked amazing through basically wherever he's played. So he's done fantastic. I gave him a probability of success of a 9.5 out of 10. Again, no prospect is, I guess, for sure, but I think he's pretty close. And even though no prospect can really be for sure that he's going to translate to the NHL, he is about as close as it gets. And then at number 2 of Carolina, you go, is it Dania or you got Svechnikov? And I think that Carolina will pick Andrei Svechnikov. I still think that he has a better upside than Zdenia. I still think that Carolina will want to take the better player here, and I think that is Svechnikov. Even though Zdenia has a chemistry with Martin Necas, who, of course, is a prospect in Carolina's system, I feel like Carolina will want to go with the better player there, and I feel like Svechnikov is. He has a lethal shot. His playmaking ability is underrated. He has good size and physicality. His defense needs a little bit of work, but still, I feel like he'll be the better all-around player than Zdenia through their careers, but I feel like Carolina will want to take him second overall. He was a beast in the OHL and the World Juniors. I gave him an 8.5 out of 10 for a probability of success. You could give him a 9. I think that's around that range, though. He was really close to a 9 there. And then with Montreal, with that third pick, I feel like even though there's a couple options that they go for, I think like they'll still go with Filip Zadania. I mean, he is an elite shot. He still has some work to go for his defensive game, but all around offensively, he's an amazing left winger, and he's done fantastic with the Halifax Mooseheads in the QMJHL. He's done fantastic there and definitely exceeded expectations. I'd give him an 8.5 out of 10 for my at least probability of success. I do think that he's almost neck and neck with Svechnikov, but I do think that Svechnikov just has a little bit more to give than Zdenia will. But overall, I still think that he will be a good third overall pick for Montreal. It's a worrying thing because maybe they go with Kachuk or some other player there, but I do think that they'll still go with their gut and go with Zdenia. And at number 4, the Ottawa Senators. I think it might just be a little bit, samey, but I feel like the Ottawa Senators will pick Adam Boqvist 4th overall. A little bit of a jump than people are expecting, but I feel like Ottawa will want to have that Boqvist-Karlsson pairing for the future. Boqvist, to me, maybe not quite as good as Karlsson, but I feel like he's a Karlsson 2.0. Maybe not as good as him, but still very, very solid. He has the same kind of game. He still has to work on his defensive game and physicality, but offensively, he's a gifted guy. Elite playmaking, elite scorer too, fast puck handling and skill. He seems like a Karlsson 2.0. Again, maybe not as good as Karlsson, but he's going to be the same kind of structure, same kind of archetype. And I feel like with Ottawa, they'll want to have that again. I mean, I feel like it'll just be the same two players. If they are on the same line, it'll just be all offense. But I feel like Ottawa wants to have that another guy. I mean, Adam Boqvist said at the Combine that he loves Erik Karlsson. That was his guy growing up. I just think it's a little bit too good to be true. For the probability of success, I gave him an 8.10. There's still a little bit of a chance that he doesn't pan out, but I do think that he has very, very high potential. And at number 5, you have the Arizona Coyotes, and I feel like this is where Brady Tkachuk will fall. 5th overall, I feel like Brady Tkachuk will fall there. He's been great in the NCAA and the World Junior Championships. He's going to be fantastic, and while he might not have the best potential, he's probably one of the biggest bets to make the NHL and produce solidly. He might not be the best guy coming out of this draft, but he's probably the biggest bet to make it and to pan out. And I give him a probability of success of 8.5, just because even though he might not be the best guy coming out of this draft, I feel like he will be one of the guys that will stay in the NHL and stay for a long time. I mean, he's great physicality, great defense, and he has some scoring with him. He's a good passer as well, but an all-around game is pretty good with Tkachuk, and while I think he's a little bit overrated, I still think that he has the best potential to pan out and stay at the Arizona Coyotes and have a long NHL career. At number 6, the Detroit Red Wings, Quinn Hughes is available, and it just seems too perfect, man. Quinn Hughes, of course, with the University of Michigan as well. He's done fantastic, and Detroit needs a defenseman, and he brings a lot of that. He's great offensively, great all-around too, but he brings a lot of offensive skill, a lot of upside, and a lot of potential. And I feel like Quinn Hughes, besides Dahlin, probably has the best potential from a defenseman in this draft. I feel like he could become one of the best defensemen in the NHL if he can work towards that. But I feel like he has massive potential, probably the second best potential in the draft right now. I feel like he just brings a lot for Detroit, and honestly, I think is a little bit too perfect. I give him probably a success of an 8, but I feel like his potential is sky high. Not as much as Dahlin, but I feel like he can definitely get to one of the best NHL in the league, and I feel like with Detroit, it'll just be a little bit too perfect. At number 7, you have the Vancouver Canucks, and I feel like this is where Evan Bouchard falls. I feel like the Vancouver Canucks will want that kind of guy that brings some offensive game and, is still decent defensively. Even though, of course, I have my concerns about him. Made that video about a week ago. I still think that he will be solid. I mean, he's been great with the OHL, and he turned that London Knights team that wasn't really expected to do too much towards the playoffs and captained them to a great season. So I feel like Bouchard will have a good career with Vancouver, and I feel like Vancouver will want him at number 7. I give him probably a success of an 8. I still think that he'll be able to perform well in the NHL. I just have my concerns with him, but with Vancouver, I feel like it's a decent fit there. I feel like Vancouver would want a guy like that. And for the sake of their fans, Vancouver better pick a defenseman. So you have the Chicago Blackhawks at number 8, and I feel like this is where Noel Dobson will go. Even though I don't know if he's really worth that 8th overall pick, I feel like Chicago would want to go with him, especially if Bouchard is already taken. If Bouchard isn't, I feel like he will go to Chicago, but if Dobson is available while Bouchard is already taken, I feel like Chicago will go that route. He was great in the QMJHL with a great run with the team there, and I feel like I'd give him probably a success of a 7.5. I just don't see that upside. I don't see that potential like other guys like a Wallstrom, or not like a Wallstrom, like a Hughes, like a Ballquist. I feel like he'll be solid, but kind of like Bouchard, he doesn't have that ceiling, that big ceiling like a guy like a Hughes or a Ballquist brings, but he's still going to be a solid guy for Chicago. He'll still be a good top 4 guy, I believe, but I feel like his draft stock was a little bit propelled by that playoff run, maybe a little bit more than it should have been. At number 9, New York Rangers, I feel like Oliver Wahlstrom will be taken here. Even though I feel like he'll go down as one of the best picks in this draft overall, I still think that New York at that point will really want him, and I feel like Wahlstrom will be a very good fit there in New York. He brings a lot to that team. I mean, he's been fantastic in the UCHL. He's been fantastic, especially there. I give him a probability of an 8.10 or an 8 out of 10. I still think that his upside is huge. A great winger there. I feel like he'll be one of those guys that will, we'll look back and see, oh, he was 9th overall, he should have been way higher. And I feel like Wahlstrom definitely has potential, but I feel like he will drop a little bit, and New York, I think, will be very lucky to get him. Now, Edmonton, with that 10th pick, I think this is where Joe Veleno will go. He's been fantastic in the OHL, and I kind of was worrying why he was dropping, because I feel like at number 10 or in that 10 to 15 range, I feel like he'll be a pretty good steal there. I feel like Joe Veleno is going to be one of those guys that we look back again, kind of like Wahlstrom, and see why he dropped so much. I feel like Veleno will be one of those guys that proves the doubters wrong. With Edmonton, I feel like it'll be a good destination for him. Edmonton kind of needs that center, and I feel like they could definitely use one there with Veleno. He could definitely bring a lot to that Edmonton team, and I give him probably a success of 7.5 out of 10. Even though I do believe him a lot, I feel like he can, even though he has dropped it, he did drop for a little bit of a reason there, so I'm a little bit concerned about that, but I feel like with Edmonton, he'll be a decent fit there. I feel like Veleno will be a good destination for Edmonton. So at number 11, I feel like the Islanders, they needed a defenseman. While I might not agree about him being so far up in the rankings, I feel like they'll take Ty Smith at number 11. He brings a lot of offensive game. He has been dominating the WHL in that standings, but I have my concerns about him, about his defense, about his overall game. Sure, he will bring a lot of offense, but isn't really what New York needs. But I feel like will be taken 11th overall, even though I don't think he'll be really a top 15 guy looking back on it. I do feel like New York will want to take him there. I give him probably a success of a 7.10. I don't have the best feeling about him. I feel like he will be a decent player, but I don't know if it's what New York really needs. But I do feel like they'll want to take defenseman there, and I feel like Ty Smith might fill the mold. At number 12, probably going to be one of the harder names to come out from this draft. You have Jesperi Kotkaniemi. Let me know if I said that right, but I feel like the New York Islanders will take him at number 12, and he's a very interesting player. He's rising up quite a lot this past year in the rankings. He's a fantastic two-way guy. He has a good shot as well, but he's going to be one of those guys. Well, I don't know if he'll be quite like a Mikko Koivu, but I think he will be in that general area. A great two-way center. Might not have that first-line potential, but going to be a very good second-line guy for whoever takes him, and I think that New York will take him there. I feel like he's definitely an interesting guy there, and could end up being a steal for New York, and they could go for another defenseman, but I feel like they will go a defenseman and a forward for that 2 picks right there if they don't trade either or. But he has great numbers in the Liga, and he's done fantastic there, and I do feel like he has that good upside. I give him an 8 out of 10 for that possibility of success. I do think that, I really feel like he'll have a great set and a great skill set going into the NHL. And number 13, you got my favorite team, Dallas, picking. I feel like this is where Barrett Hayton will fall down. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of him. I think that he's just a little bit overrated, but I feel like he will be a decent player. Of course, he has played well as a two-way guy in the OHL as well, and he's going to be a solid center. I mean, Dallas has been targeting centers, and they've said before in this offseason that they want to get more centers through the draft, and he fits the mold. If Joe Veleno isn't available, which I don't think he will be at 13th, I do think that Barrett Hayton, or just Coach Kamaniemi, whatever his name is, I feel like either or could be good fits in Dallas, but I feel like Hayton will fall down just a little bit. I feel like Dallas will want to take him there. I give him a probability of success of 7.5. I do have my concerns with him, but I do think he'll be a solid guy all around. And Philadelphia, having that 14th pick, I think that they will go for Joel Verby. He makes a lot of leadership. He's been the captain for the USA team for a while. He's put up dominant numbers in the UCHL, or the USHL, and he's done fantastic there as a left winger. He brings some great skating, great offensive potential, and he's got great shots. He needs to work on his physicality, which Philadelphia has obviously specialized in for a while, but I do think that he will be a decent fit in Philadelphia. Even though they probably could go for more defense, I do think that they might want to round out that top. I guess mid-6, which Verby definitely fits in. I don't know if he has the quality to go for a first line or second line forward, but I do think if he, at the very least, he'll be a very good third line guy for them. I give him a 7.5 success. I do think that he will be decent, just not with some great upside. I don't know if the potential is quite there. At number 15 with the Florida Panthers, I do think that Rasmus Kupari will be picked here. He's got great skill, great creativity, and offensively, he's one of the best hands in the draft. He's really an offensive gifted guy, and at 15, I think he will be worth it. He has to work on his defense and some physicality there, but you don't really expect too much from that type of player, but he has some great hands and offensive ability, which Florida, I think, could need, especially a winger. I don't think that Florida at all will take a center here. They're obviously fit with centers, so I think that having a winger for Florida will work out very well for them. I think he is a very good fit in Florida. I give him a 7.5 as well with that probably success. I do think that he has some concerns with that defensive game and physicality, but offensively he's definitely gifted and will be one of the better guys from this draft, at least offensively, I feel. So that is the top 15, of course, rounding it out. You got Rasmus Dahlin, Andre Vestigov, Philip Zadania, Anna Boquist, Brady Tkachuk, Quinn Hughes, M. Bouchard, Noah Thompson, Oliver Wallstrom, Joe Veleno, Ty Smith, Jesperi Kotkaniemi, Barrett Hayton, Joel Verby, and Rasmus Kupari to round out that top 15, at least from me. Now, of course, this is a mock draft. This isn't my 15 guys. My 15 guys, at least from my perspective, are going to be a little bit different, but this is just a mock draft. This is what I think will happen. I think a lot of these guys make sense here. But of course, NHL teams sometimes just do something wacky. So of course, these aren't going to be the correct ones. Probably isn't going to be close, but I always like doing this. I always like seeing the creativity. And of course, looking back on it to see how correct I was. But honestly, this draft, it could go all the way. I mean, Boquist could drop. I mean, you could see Zadania not even pick third. There's a lot of options that teams could go for. And of course, it's looking like a great draft in the top 15. Looking to not disappoint so far. But one thing I do know is going to be one of the better drafts we see it for a while is a lot of potential. And a lot of these guys are really performing in the minor leagues. And we've seen that. And a lot of these teams are going to get great players. And I don't see this top 15 really... I see this top 15, a lot of these guys panning out. I don't see a lot of busts here. Some of them worry me, but I feel like a lot of these guys will be very solid guys. Of course, it is up in the air. A lot of these guys could go random places. I never really strive to be perfect with these rankings, but I do think that a lot of these make sense. A lot of these seem pretty realistic. Of course, I'm not saying that I'm perfect, but I feel like this is where I'll go, at least my predictions here. But of course, a lot of this is on you guys. What is your top 15? If you want to go all the way, put your top 15 in the comments down below. I love to see them. Of course, I love to make these. I also love to see other people's rankings. But that is going out for today, guys. If you enjoy, make sure you like and subscribe. Tell me down below what you think of my top 15. Put your 15 down below. Do you agree with mine? Do you not agree with mine? Join the Discord down below if you want to as well. And I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.